So here in Moodle, we're going to have a look at how when we use LockDown browser, we can embed resources into our quizzes or exams. So essentially what we're talking about here is how we can embed a PDF, a video, or an online book within Moodle. Some are easier than others, some are a little bit more complex. So we're going to jump into this course here, and we've got this movie construction quiz set up. In here, we have one question, and essentially the purpose of this question is really, if we preview it, just to show how we can think about embedding different elements in our exams and where any pitfalls might pop up. So we're going to run through how to embed a PDF, how to embed a reference video, and then the slightly longer topic of how to embed book references from external websites, which will vary a little bit from publisher to publisher. So we're going to create this question from scratch. So we'll close this. And before we can add or remove questions from this quiz, we're going to need to clear the attempt. So we'll just go to attempts and check one attempt that's been made. We'll delete that. And now when we come back to our questions, we can click add to add new questions. So we'll add a new question. It's basically going to be the same question. We're going to add an essay question and click add. And we'll just paste in the question text. And the first thing we want to add is a PDF version of this book. Now, the book we're going to be using is the same book that we're going to link to the ebook for. So we'll come to that website, and essentially we're using an open source book for this. We're going to come back to the home page to download the PDF version of this text. So we'll click download PDF, and it's opened up in a new window in our browser here. So we'll just need to click the download button across to the right. So it actually downloads our downloads folder. We'll hit save. So once that's saved and downloaded, we'll come back to our quiz, and we're going to say download this PDF for reference, and then we'll paste this in. So we'll use this as the link to the PDF. So I've pasted in the title of this book. We're just going to come to the link function here, and we're going to browse our repositories, and we're going to upload a new file. So we'll go to choose and come to our downloads folder. We can see the PDF is listed here. We'll upload this. Click upload this file. And the main thing to do here, and this is a really important point, is that we need to get this to open a new window. If we don't do that, then when we're in our quiz in the LockDown browser, the PDF will open and students won't have any way of getting back to that quiz. So this step is very important. So I'm going to highlight my link, come to the link option, and we're going to check open in new window. So I could have checked that before, but if you want to double check it, then you can just click back on the link function. So that is all we need to do to embed a PDF. So we'll test these all in a minute to show how they work within LockDown browser. I'm going to hit enter here, and we're now going to pop in our movie. So we're going to say review this short video before answering this question. And in here, we're going to use the Kaltura function to embed our QuickTime movie. But first of all, we'll grab the web address of this film. So I'm just copying that. Then we'll come back and we are going to use the Kaltura button. And then in here, we'll click add new, and we'll use the YouTube option here. Paste in the web address of our video and tap preview. Now, hitting preview is important. Some videos won't allow you to embed them into another website. So you want to make sure that students can actually view the video, and the preview function in Kaltura is a good way of quickly seeing that. So once that's done, we can do save and embed. And now that video will be embedded within our quiz. So within a quiz question, we're using an essay question here, but it could be a multiple choice or another question. We can embed these other media elements within those quizzes. Obviously, if you are getting students to watch a video during an exam online, you will want them to use their headphones so that students being invigilated in class, you don't have a cacophony of videos playing at the same time. Now, the last option is to be able to allow students to review an online version of a book. So we'll type in view the online version of this book. Now for this, we'll actually need to change some settings when we add the LockDown browser to this quiz. So I'm going to paste in the address of this, the web address of this book. So essentially a link to that. So this isn't a link to the PDF. This is a link to the online version of the book. So essentially we are linking, if we come back to the book itself, we are linking to the online version of this book where we can go to read book, and it will allow us to review the contents, read through the whole book, navigate through the book, and do all of that within the LockDown browser within a quiz or exam. So in order to do that, the first thing we need to do is add this URL as an exception within the LockDown browser. So we're going to come back to the home page of this book, and we'll click read book. So we come right to the read book option here, and we'll copy this link. So what we're going to do with this link is we're going to come into our plugins, and I've installed this application called Domain Spotter, which is a Google Chrome plugin. So I'm going to clear what we have in there for the moment, and we'll paste in the web address of this book, and I'm going to click open. So what will happen now is as we go into contents and click through these links, click through the different pages of the book, and you'll want to navigate when you go to a publisher's site, especially if it's a locked off publisher site rather than an open source site like this, you want to make sure you go through the whole login process to collect these domains. So this is going to be a brief overview of how this works. So essentially, as we're doing this, we come back to the domain spotter. It is collecting all the web page addresses that we're navigating to when we're reading this book. So that will be the whole login process if you're going to a publisher page that you need to log into. So we'll copy this, and we're going to paste this into a text edit document. So I'm just going to change the format of this to plain text. And we'll zoom in on this a little bit just so you can see it. So what we're looking for is the top level domains within this list. So if we select this milnepublishing.geneseo.edu and copy that and then do a search for it, so Command and F, then you can see, just glancing through, every single web address is using that same domain. So actually that domain is all that I need for this. If you're working from a publisher site, then there may be a lot more domains. So this is an example from Pearson where when you're logging in and accessing some of their materials online, it will be accessing all of these different domains. So you may need to copy, so you're copying the whole domain. So from the pearson.com onwards, or the pearsonvt.com onwards, you're copying all of those and pasting them into the LockDown browser as we set it up. So for this example though, we only have one domain, which is this milnepublishing.geneseo.edu. So we'll copy that, and now we'll come in and add the LockDown browser in Moodle as well as this domain. So I don't need to do anything else for my question here. That is all set up. So I'll save the changes, and we can preview that new question. So you can see I've got my PDF, I've got my short video, and I've got my online version of the book. So we'll test all those within the LockDown browser once we've got this set up. I'm going to delete the original version of the question there, so the top one. So we just have this one question now. So we're going to come back to the home page of our course. We're going to open up the block drawer on the right, and we're going to come into Responders LockDown browser. So we're going to come into the movie construction quiz, into the settings, and we're going to ask it to require Responders LockDown browser. And at this point, we need to go into the advanced settings. So you can see in here, we have options to lock students into the exam until it's finished, allow access to specific external web domains. So for this, you can see there's an explanation here of how this works. So you can see how it's only wanting the main domain. So we only need the domain, not the URL. So we don't need the HTTPS in this case and the slashes. We just need those domains. So you can see how it's written here as a domain and then a comma separating each of those domains. So for the one that we have, essentially when we allow this, we're just pasting in one domain, this milnepublishing.geneseo. But if we had other domains, we would type in a comma and then the next domain as well. So if we were typing in, for instance, these Pearson domains, then we would copy and paste all those domains, separate them by a comma, and add them in here. So if we check everything else, we don't need the calculator, we don't need printing, and we're not going to require proctoring for this version of the exam. So we'll save and close, and I'm going to come back to my movie construction page, and we are going to come in as a student. And so now you can see when I'm on my quiz page, when I scroll down, it's going to require me to launch LockDown browser when I review this quiz. So I'm going to click Launch LockDown browser. And once I'm in here, I'm going to hit Start Quiz. So we're not going to answer all the questions to the quiz here, but what we are going to do is just check all these links work. So the first thing is, if you remember, we made this PDF open in a new window. In this case, it's going to open in a new tab. So we'll click here, and you can see now when a student is reviewing the PDF, they can navigate the PDF as they normally would do, but they'll be able to jump back and forth between the quiz tab where they can type in their answer, and also the tab for the PDF as well. Now, one thing they won't be able to do between any of these bits of content and the exam itself, if we just scroll down to a page with some content, is select text and copy and paste it into their exam. So that's a PDF that is working well. If we hit play, and you can see our video is playing nicely. One note about these embedded videos, if I click on the link at the top here, then it will bring me into YouTube. And actually in YouTube, you will have some functionality such as being able to use the search, being able to browse through the videos. So you can actually navigate YouTube quite extensively from within the LockDown browser with a YouTube video embedded in there. So just bear that in mind. If you're embedding videos, you may want to have a look at how you have a recording of that video and embed it directly into there without linking away from this page. Now, if we scroll down and we click Exploring Movie Construction and Production, so this is the online version of the book. When I click that, again, it's going to open the online version of that book within a different location. So you can see here, I can navigate and search in this book. And then if I click on Milne Library, you can see it's navigating through different parts of this website. I've got options for the back button, but students will be able to go in and read the ebook version of this and then navigate back to their quiz. So they'll have full access to the contents of that particular book from within their exam. Again, they won't be able to select text and copy it. They will only be able to read the text within that location. So you can see there is some extended functionality when we add these kinds of external options within a quiz, such as being able to navigate a website that you direct them towards from within the quiz, and then also navigate in the book. Once the quiz is finished, then they can click Finish Attempt at the bottom, and then submit all and finish once they've written everything in there. And you can see I've got a question without a response here. I'm not going to write a response to this question, but submit all and finish. And there we go. We have our exam at the moment, ungraded, so 0 out of 10. But that's how to embed content within quiz that is using LockDown browser, so either a book or other paper. Now with some publishers and books, if we're coming back into our quiz here, we'll just come back to our questions, you may find that there are errors accessing the book even once you've entered all those domains. So even with a website like Pearson or other publishers, you may find you need to add extra domains. And when you're in LockDown browser, what will happen is it will pop up an error saying that a certain domain can't be accessed. You need to make a note of that and then go back in to LockDown browser. So we'll come back into LockDown browser dashboard here. And when you're troubleshooting, you may need to come in here to the settings, back into the advanced settings and add in extra domains. And essentially that is because for students and for instructors, the access to these materials may be done through different domains. If you are using a particular book or publisher for your exam and it's available from different sources, then I would recommend trying to stick to one source for your publisher resources so that you're not having to enter domains for students to access different books in their exams or different locations where that book is published. So recommend that students use one particular publisher as their kind of source for a particular publication. But yeah, these errors will pop up in LockDown browser if it can't access the book. So for this reason, we'd definitely recommend running a test. So an inconsequential, no jeopardy practice quiz where students can actually go in, answer some simple questions, but also access the content that's going to be online in their midterm or final exam as well. So make sure that you're testing this too. So I hope this is a good overview of setting up quiz in LockDown browser and adding in those external resources for students to access. If you do have any questions, then please do get in touch.